Chem, I'm going to talk to you about how you can name alkanes. I'm going to walk you through 3 simple steps and give you a bunch of examples so that you're comfortable naming alkanes in no time. So let's begin. So first, I'm going to show you a simple carbon chain. So the first step is finding the longest carbon chain. If you follow along with my cursor, you can see that this chain is the longest chain in this example. Okay, the next step is going to be numbering the carbon chain so that we have the most substituents and the lowest number at each substituents. So there are a few ways we can do this, and let's try to find the best one. So the first way you can do it is from left to right, and you can do 1, 2, 3, 4. The second way you can do it is from right to left, and you can do 1, 2, 3, 4. So the key to naming an alkane is that you want the number to be the lowest wherever there's a substituent. So if you look at this from left to right, we have a 2. Whereas when you look at it from right to left, we have a 3 at the substituent. So we're going to go with left to right. So let's just delete the numbers from right to left, and let's move on. So step 3 is going to be identifying the type of substituent. So this over here is our substituent, and this is only one carbon which is not part of the chain, therefore it's a methyl. So let's move on to putting the whole name together. So first you're going to start off by writing the number at which the substituent is located. So that would be a 2. That is followed by a dash. Next you're going to write the name of the substituent. So in this case that would be methyl. And this over here would be butane. So there you go. You've learned 3 easy steps, and let's move on to doing more examples. I'm just going to clear my board here and draw another example. Okay, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1. Okay, so our first step is going to be finding the longest carbon chain. If you follow along with my cursor, we can see that this here is our longest carbon chain. The next step is to number the chain so that we have the lowest number at each substituent and the highest number of substituents. So we could do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we would do this left to right so that we have the lowest numbers, 2 and 3, rather than 3 and 4. So let's go ahead and delete it, going left to right. Okay, now we want to circle our substituents. So once again, over here, we only have one carbon not part of the chain at each of the numbers. So let's figure out the whole name for this alkane. So we have a substituent at 2, and we have one at 3. So we're going to separate those 2 numbers with a comma. That's going to be followed by a dash, and then we're going to write the name of the substituent. In this case, we have 2 methyl groups, so that's going to be dimethyl. Oops, sorry about that. Dimethyl. And this over here is pentane. So we're going to write pentane. So our overall name is 2,3-dimethylpentane. Let's move on to another example. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw another carbon chain, and we're going to make this one a bit harder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you follow along with my cursor, we can see that this here is our longest carbon chain. Now we want to once again number the chain so that we have the highest number of substituents and the lowest number at each substituent. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And at times you may need to experiment with the numbering to make sure that you have all the success criteria down, which is having the lowest number at each substituent. Okay? So now let's move on to step 3. So we want to circle our substituents, and we want to determine what group they are. This over here is a methyl group, and this over here is an ethyl group. So now let's put the whole thing together. So we want to do this in alphabetical order, so ethyl will be before methyl. So this is going to be 3 dash ethyl dash 4 dash methyl. And sorry, I might need to move down here. And this over here is a heptane. So note that if you have more space, unlike me, you're not supposed to have a gap between the methyl and heptane. You want it to be all one word. Okay? Let's do 2 more examples. I'm going to go ahead and draw another chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you follow along with my cursor for step 1, this right here is our longest carbon chain. There are a few other ways you might think is the right way to determine the carbon chain. This could be an example, but this is the correct answer. So let's go ahead and number our chain. Okay, so the correct way to number this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just like so. Okay, next we're going to move on to circling our substituents. So this right here is a substituent, and this right here is our substituent, and they should be at their lowest numbers, 3 and 4. So now let's put it all together. So we have a methyl group at 3 and an ethyl group at 4. As I mentioned before, we want to put this in alphabetical order, so don't worry about the order of the numbers, worry about the alphabet. Okay, so we're gonna do 4 dash ethyl dash 3 dash methyl, and this right here is a heptane, 7. And there you have it. So before ending this video, I'm going to close off with one last example. Okay. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, just like so. Okay, so the correct way, I'm not going to walk you through exactly how to number this carbon chain, but I'm going to tell you the right answer. So we're going to start off from here. This one is a bit tricky, so we're going to start off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this may allow you to do a bit of experimentation to find out the correct way. Remember, you want the highest number of substituents and the lowest number at each substituent. So let's go ahead and name this chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's move on to circling our substituents. So we have a substituent here at 3, and we have 2 substituents at the number 2. Okay, now let's put the name together. So we have an ethyl group at 3, remember, alphabetical order. So we're going to do 3 dash ethyl we have two methyl groups at the number 2. So we're going to do 2. Remember, when you have 2, you're going to separate it with the comma. It's going to be dimethyl. Sorry about that. And this is going to be nonane. Again, if you have more space than me, you're going to make sure that there's no gap between dimethyl and nonane. So here you have it. You now know how to name alkanes, and I hope this video was helpful, and stay tuned for more.